So let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever been on the financial side of arranging a funeral by any chance?
No.
No? Okay, well, funerals usually cost about $14,000. What most families don't realize is that life insurance doesn't cover funeral costs the way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
The way it used to work was if something were to happen to you, Elena, your spouse would be able to take the insurance policy that you have and go to a funeral director and hand it to him, and it would serve as collateral until the insurance money shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work that way anymore. Insurance companies used to have to pay on your policy within 24 days. They now have up to 60 days to hold on to your money. Up to 60 days to hold on to your money. Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
It's interest. The millions and millions of dollars they make off of interest for being able to hold on to your money and having it build up. Another thing that's happening right now is there's two companies in the U.S. and Canada that are going around buying all the funeral homes and cemeteries in the U.S. and Canada. The one is out of Texas called the SEI, and the other one is called the Alderwood Group out of Canada. Their main goal is to become like a Walmart of the funeral industry.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I'm telling you this is because their corporate policy is that usually they always want at least 50% of all upfront costs being paid for when going through them.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure about your guys' financial situation, but most families that I sit down with don't just have $7,000 to $10,000 just lying around waiting for funeral costs.
Mm-hmm.
And even the ones that do, they want to use that kind of money to be able to pay for all the bills that come in afterwards.
Right.
Yeah. So this is why they came up with this. This is called the Freedom of Choice Funeral Certificate. The way this works is that you can take this. It doesn't matter if something were to happen to you. It doesn't matter when, where, how, or why. It could be tomorrow. It could be 50 years from now. It could be from any kind of disease or cancer. They'll accept it. In fact, they love it because they know it's backed by big union companies that you like, the ones that you work for. They're not going to ask any questions, and they'll just be able to accept it. Now, if you wanted to go traditional, like you said, let's say it costs about $15,000. All we do is go to the funeral home. You pick out the kind of funeral you guys were looking to get, and let's say you wanted to get a casket, a gravesite, funeral, and then some flowers on top, and it costs us $15,000. All you do is write $15,000 here, and fill in the arrangements, and then sign as a beneficiary, and then hand it to the funeral director. This would cover all the costs for the funeral, and there would be no out-of-pocket costs whatsoever. So if you guys qualified for obviously more than that, let's say you guys qualified for the $37,000, you would never that the $15,000 the $37,000 is a very important number because that's what your funeral can cost up to. But we just want to make sure that you guys don't ever reveal that number, and we'll never reveal that number.
Mm-hmm.
So the $37,000 is okay. So just keep your funeral under the $37,000, and then make sure you keep Matt's funeral under $37,000.
Okay.
So all you would have to do is hand this to any funeral director, and once you guys leave the funeral home, they're going to ask two questions. They're going to call our office home number and ask two questions. The first one is going to be if you guys were enrolled, and that's not a problem. By the time I leave today, you guys will be enrolled.
Mm-hmm.
The second question is how much you guys had to work with. So that's if the funeral magically cost, if we told them you guys had $37,000 to work with, how much do you think the funeral is going to magically cost?
$37,000.
Yeah, that's exactly. It shouldn't. It shouldn't work that way, and we don't allow it to work that way. The way we do it is we tell them that you guys had the $15,000. We cut them a paycheck for the $15,000 to cover the funeral costs, and then cut you and the kids a check for the difference. That's just the most compassionate, easiest, and simplest way of handling something that's going to happen to all of us.
Okay.
It's kind of like a prearranged funeral. Have you heard of prearrangements before?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So they work great in concept. I'm sure you know that. So what they do is usually you're locked into one specific funeral home. This doesn't make you go to one specific funeral home. You can go to any one in the United States. If you're enrolled in a pre-arrangement, all they do is they charge about $100 a month, and all the money that you've paid into it, that's what you're going to get paid back for the funeral costs. So this is actually a blank $37,000 paycheck for you and your family if something were to happen to Matt. So the way this, so this is just a blank $37,000 paycheck.
Tie down. Like, does that make sense how this works?
Okay. So so is that? Yeah. So does that make sense to you? How that works then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.